Now let's go straight into the presentation. The last minute tips before filing 1040. I am putting a 1040 here because most of us know what is 1040. But of course, the October 17th due date is also there are business tax return are due at that time as well. So you want to know that yes, Monday is a due date. And if I just got a call and one of our office, our neighbors are doing construction. So I call the construction company, goes, hey, folks, you guys need to know that. And if you cut off electricity between now and the 17th, you're killing all of my clients. So, that is how important it is right now. And if you have not really put together your documents, you need to, and the due date is the 17th on Monday. And before I start with the content of today, I'd like to introduce you to an event that dear to my heart. And I am actually one of the founders for this nonprofit organization called the Immigrant Entrepreneurs Summit. It is just as the name suggested, it is where immigrant entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs with no business knowledge, and they grow up in the household, mom is a teacher, dad is, is the professor, and they just don't really have business side of education. And you grow up, you want to learn how to do business, you come over here. So that is on November 19th. It's a Saturday, 8:30 to 5, and 23 classes is taught, and all of them are down to the real issues. Just like our webinar, we don't talk things fancy. We don't trying to do entertainment, even though, occasionally I can crack a joke, but, that's just not really my profession. So some of my jokes, I cracked it, but nobody laughed. So it doesn't really make any sense to be a professional on that one. I'm just saying that we're serious, okay? We are here for business, and you can come in and you literally can find your mentors in this event. And obviously, as a nonprofit, we would appreciate you to go online, register, and join me at IES, right? And the firm information, communitycpa.com, that's our website. Our YouTube channel name is Community CPA, one word. You type in there, you find me. And I promise you that our content is practical. It is down to earth. It is what it is. And we don't tell you anything else. Truth, nothing but truth, right? All right, no responsibility disclaimer, just internet, okay? The nature of internet is entertaining, driven. But some of those knowledge we share is not for fun. It is real knowledge, and you want to take the knowledge with the grain of salt, so you know how to use it. If you really need it to account on our opinions for things, obviously you can, ask for professional service from us, and we'll be willing to help you. But just, just be sensitive to the knowledge you have. Okay, 1040 extended deadline, right? That is October 17th. For 2021 1040 return. Tax people are historians. When they goes like, oh, I'm busy with tax filing, and you think they're talking about 2022, right? No, they're talking about 2021. We don't even remember what's going on in 2021 anymore. But here your tax people are drilling into details, and it goes, what is that $5 all about? You spend it on this day, in this come and go place. Is that a gas or a bubble gum? And things like that. They ask you things so not relevant for today. But that's what it is. Your tax people is historian. But in our firm, we try to change our tax people from being that stereotype historian. We try to be forward-looking. And this is one of the things we do, right? We are forward-looking, and it's not Monday yet. We already talking about deadline. So we want you to know that missing the deadline is not a good deal. and it will trigger and more scrutiny on your tax return when you are not filing it on time. To gather your information right now and get to your tax preparer. And if your tax is really simple and your AGI is below 50,000, you can go to those, other places to file them for free. You can even do it online, and you can, there's online softwares as well to do your tax return, right? But just one advice I give you, it doesn't matter where you do your tax return. Other than you're doing your tax return with firms like Community CPA, we save our data forever. We don't destroy your data. If you are my clients in 1998, you come to me, goes, Ying, I want my tax return in 1998, I have it. But a lot of online people, and they do expire, just like your bank statement expires too, right? You can't go to Wells Fargo asking for bank statement 20 years ago. It's not there. So you really, they do have a timeline for you to see your data. So make sure you print out or you save a copy for yourself, and don't rely on the online saving. I have seen so many clients, they don't have last year's tax return because they filed it online. They forgot to save a copy. Now they went back online. They can't find themselves. They can't find them anymore. They're even wondering whether they even filed the return. So we have to be talking to IRS to figure out whether their return was even filed. So it's a lot of complications when you take responsibility for your own filing, but make sure you have a copy. So gather your final and missing information really quickly. It will take your tax preparer time to draft your return, and plan for time to review, right? To modify your return if needed. You can't be like giving the tax preparer information the next day file. That is just not practical, folks. And why do you want to be the last minute procrastinator? And but I don't blame you, because in my personal life, I tell you that I have the biggest procrastinator in my life. So I know how that is, but that's okay. And if that is you though, and I hope you have someone that understands your tendency and can make you to do the right thing, do it timely. So make sure that if you declare that you're a procrastinator, and then maybe, and you can contract professional firms like Community CPA, we will bother you till you want to divorce us. And we're kind of people like, we don't like go until you tell us that you filed it. Otherwise, we'll be just calling you, email you, and text you, and do everything, all the tricks we have. We're just gonna nail you down, okay? We're pretty scary in that way, but I thought we're being a nice monster, not so bad, not a bad monster. E-file. Plan to file your taxes electronically. That is really one of the best way to prevent being audited, because electronically filed taxes kind of go through some checking mechanically already. So when you do that, if it is really not done properly, it probably will reject it. So that by itself is already a checking. And IRS e-filing is available to all taxpayers. And last year, 100 million taxpayers are filed on the electronic filing, what IRS call it, the safest, the fastest, the easiest way to submit your tax return. There's several options that IRS can have you file that for free. For example, the e-IRS free filing, and you can do fillable forms on IRS website to file taxes too. And you can go to VITA program, the VITA site. You just type in VITA site in my area, and it will give you who does taxes for you for free, okay? But not everybody qualify for filing tax for free. So you can just call us and tell them how much you make, they will tell you. And there's some situation where you just cannot e-file, right? For example, you got a new baby and they just don't have a social security yet, or you're a new immigrant coming to the country, you're still pending for your social security, and I wouldn't say you're still pending for your birthday. I was going, I almost said that, but no, not like that. It's just you're pending on information. Maybe, one of the 1099 was issued wrong on you. You're waiting for that to be reversed. There's a lot of reasons for people cannot file electronically. If that is the case, you'll want to make sure that the tax filing is stamped and at the post office by due date. Okay. One other thing I want to mention is this is really key as well. You know how sometimes when you have a business, the business is what we call the flow-through entity. For example, partnership, S corporation, they issue a K1 for you and you take the K1 to file your taxes, right? So when that happens, and you're pending on the K1. Sometimes the K1 is out of your control because your partner had a CPA who does the K1, but that CPA got sick with COVID and things were not timely and you don't have it, then you cannot file your return. That is true. If you don't have your K1 and still at this time, and you don't have a choice but delay filing your tax return. But you may say that, well, you just said that it shouldn't be delaying. So what I would recommend you to do is to estimate that K1 and know how much you might be paying, pay the tax due on time, pay the tax due before October 17 and delay filing your return. So that would be the best way to go. Sometimes you also notice yourself that, oh, last year I got this interest statement from US Bank, but this year I haven't really received it yet. And you just moved. Then you want to spend your time calling a US Bank or calling the bank, tell them you got a new address and you need to have their 1099 INT mailed to you. So those are the things you really need to be aware. So you know that you don't have those data, you cannot file. And when you don't have the solid data and you want to do estimate, at least pay the taxes by the 17th. And what if you say, well, Ying, I know I'm not going to pay taxes. I'm going to get a refund. So what do? Then you don't do anything. You just wait until you got all the data, then you file. As long as you have a refund, then you won't be penalized because, some of the circumstances is really out of your control. Even if you get penalized, there's a procedure you can go through to abate that charges IRS give you, right? And the proper documentation for those listed on your taxes. And this is so important. Sometimes, I have parents and who listed their child and, because they were debating on the child name. I think they didn't decide on what that is, or they remembered it differently. So they have the wrong name on the tax return and with the child. So those are the things will trigger your tax return to be rejected. So the social security number is one of the key. So please make sure that you check each identification number for each person listed on your return. When you change tax preparer, that is really key. If you know that you were doing taxes with other firms before, now this year you come to Community CPA, and when you review your taxes, and we always will tell you that you want to review your birth date and review your social security number, review your name, and make sure that we actually keyed in the right name. Sometimes with our Latino folks, and the last name can be a little tricky, and we don't know which one is the right last name. We could accidentally put mom's last name as your last name. Actually, no, that's not. It should be these two last names be my last name. So stuff like that, it needs to be checked. And that's a very common mistake you see in the tax return. And just be aware those IDs are important to put it right. All right. And you want to give a copy of your ID to your tax preparer so they have in their record, right? And here in Iowa, it is required that the driver license or state ID be scanned by the tax preparer and as a part of documentation. So you know that you need to supply that and to make sure things were in place properly. And you also want to check numbers and the sign names. It's just like so mundane. It's like, why you're talking this kind of thing I already knew. you know, trust me, there's just people who doesn't. And if you are doing tax return on your own, sometimes we have taxpayers, and they just pull out the online forms and they're doing it themselves. Those online forms, they don't calculate. So math errors is the biggest, most common tax filing mistakes that IRS see. That's IRS own words, and they're saying that the biggest mistake, the most common mistake is math error. It's just like, come on, just use computer. So, but then you there are people using computer to file taxes, then they don't know what computer is doing. Other than no math error, everything else is wrong, right? When you use computer tax software to do taxes, you really need to strategically knowing what you put in is in the right place. If you don't put in the right place, it will result in different number, right? So, you know, with computer, you have computer challenges. With the paper filing tax return, you have that challenge as well. So if you file them on paper, you want to double check your accuracy on the calculation. And you also want to make sure you're using the right tax tables, because those tax tables can be complex, right? They show you you're a single filer, or married file jointly, or head of household, then the numbers are all different. So make sure you use the right tax table. But if you just think that, man, Ying, I don't want you to talk about this because I use computer, I use software. Okay, fine. Then you can use your software to e-file your return, but be sure whether you use software or you use paper filing, that signature of yours is golden. You have to sign. And you may say that, you know, I file with you, Ying, and you just, you know, I just gonna sign and I'm done. I just sign 8079, I'm done. And remember, and even if you are the person makes all the money in your household, and your wife never participate in filing taxes, but that tax return need to be filed by her as well. So, you know, here we wrote, if you are filing a joint return, both you and your spouse must sign, even if only one of you had income. We have so many times, and people think that, well, I'm the one in charge. I sign everybody's tax return. No, that is something you want to know as a taxpayer. You want your spouse's signature on it. Okay. And of course you say, well, what happened if I don't? What if I've been signing her the whole time? Well, I guess, you know, if you owe a lot of taxes and your spouse can come out and says, I don't owe that taxes because this guy, he files it and he never talked to me. And I'm an innocent spouse, right? So that's why IRS trying to avoid that. IRS don't want innocent spouse claim all the time. They want the other person knows what you are filing. So this is where sign names, that's important. And tax payment and payment method. And this is where if you owe taxes, so what is the best way to pay IRS? I would say that the only way, not just the best way, the only way to pay it electronically. You can pay electronically on your tax software or with Community CPA, and we do that on your tax return, right? You can also pay that on IRS website. So you don't have to write a check. I would recommend you never write a check because it is so easy to be somewhere. Nobody knows where the check happened, what happened to the check. Then you were trying to stop payment on that check and then IRS cashed it. So it's just too much drama behind a paper check. So why don't you just think of electronic pay, electronic pay. There's no other ways to do it. Payment method is when you have tax due and you don't really know, you can't really pay it off because it's too big, it's too much, and you can't afford. And then you will set up this installment plan with IRS, right? And I would say that that installment plan with IRS also should be paying by installment via electronic payment method, because IRS accept that. IRS have that set up for you. Then every month on certain days, they take the money from you. Then you don't have to worry about signing the check, being late, because if you're late, the installment plan that you really finally set up, it will go banana right away. And you won't have it working anymore. And how many times do you want to go through trouble to set installment plan? It's just too much paperwork, and try not to put yourself in that situation. But set up installment plan, have it go electronically. And once you set up installment plan, you cannot owe taxes again, because otherwise void your previous setup. So if this year 2021 is hard for you, you happen to owe a lot of taxes, and then you set up installment plan, just try to get that paid timely. And in 2022, do your tax planning now. Know that you don't owe taxes. Then you walking into 2023 feel easy and confident. I always, tax matter is something that every one of us has to deal with, right? Unless you are really, really, making so little money, you're not needing to file taxes. But for most small business owners, you need to file tax, and really getting into a habit of doing taxes smoothly, calmly, and with a schedule that really gonna help you to live a better life. I'm not exaggerating that point. And the people who run things to the last minute, and it just have added pressure and the stress that is not needed. Of course, some people get adrenaline over those kind of pressure. So some people just call themselves procrastinator last minute, but never late. And if you're that kind of person, you draw energy out of anxiety. Good for you. And you just keep on filing your taxes last minute. And I hope you find a tax preparer who works with you and also drawing energy out of anxiety. I don't know. I know Annie. And of course, we try to train people to have the ability to turn the anxiety into energy, right? But that's not the same to say enjoy that. So let's make sure you don't get yourself to that kind of situation, and really plan it out. We have taxpayers who plans out a year ahead with us. They will set a tax planning date, so we meet. Then they will set documentation date. They send everything in. Then they will set a preliminary closing meeting before filing. Then we go through draft and review. Then they set filing time. So it is really a step by step. It is up to you how you want to work with the service provider, right? Or you set that for yourself, so you move forward on your own with ease and a charm instead of being too overwhelmed. Should I do direct deposit? You know how when you file taxes, if you got a refund, and there's an option for you to get the money into your bank account directly. Am I right? And if you owe, you can also give out that bank account so IRS can take money from you. And some people really concerned about doing that because they're saying that they don't trust the government. The government is going to take money from me without me knowing it. I don't trust them. I don't give them a direct deposit. And I will tell you that I have a lot of work experience with the government, right? Because I, work on taxes, tax audit, and the people owe money or they get refund. And here, right now in our world, compliance review, ERC claim, and all of these things are, are things that you have to trust the government in order to get it done. So I want to say that everybody makes mistakes, and the government might be making mistake too. But one true data I'll give you from my end, I have not seen IRS making mistake on direct deposit. I have not seen any. And there are mistakes done, but it was not IRS. It was client closed the account, they forgot, or it is the tax preparer putting in the wrong number for that bank account. And so those are human errors on both sides, but seriously, I have not seen IRS and using the direct deposit, taking some petty cash out for fun and causing taxpayer to wonder what happened to my money. Never. So direct deposit is safe. and with government. If you want to give them that account information, they can deposit your refund a lot faster. But if you don't trust them and to take money from you, then you write check that could delay your payment, adding interest and the penalty. I would just give them the account, have them draw money out of the account. Of course, that requires you to manage your account properly, right? And it is always two aspects of every matter. And I want to make sure that you hear me from my own data. And I'm not talking about internet data. I'm talking about the 12,000 taxpayers in my database. I have not seen any mistake IRS made on direct deposit, right? And so, of course, if you really want to know where your refund is and you didn't give them direct deposit link and they mail check to you and you're worried the check is missed out, and you can go to IRS website to look for where is my refund tool. And that is a really nice tool IRS developed for so many years already. And so you can go there to look for your money and see what you get there, right? Last but not the least, and right now we are about to close out 1040 2021. It is really the time for 2022 planning. And I can't tell you how important that is to plan, because if you plan, you save taxes with ease because you know the path to go down and you already did all the things you need to save taxes. So when 2023 comes and you know that everything is taken care of, you know exactly how much taxes you need to pay, which you already paid before December 31st, 2022, or you know exactly how much money you will get by IRS refund or state refund. So planning, it is not just about sitting down and look at what I make and calculate the taxes. And it's not as simple as that. When we do planning, we actually look at your business structure, and maybe you're making $25,000 net profit under Schedule C in 2021. You already overpaid a lot of taxes in 2021. Now 2022 is here, you're making more. We will give you a tool to have you pay less taxes legitimately. There's nothing under the table. There's no shady walk for you under tax area. It is all about us to provide the knowledge that you should have, you should know, and to carry out your business successfully. So this is our promise to our client, and you can reach us easily by email Catherine@communitycpa.com. And remember, we are the firm literally open 6 days a week. And you won't find another CPA firm does this firm-wide, but we are. We have 2 shifts, so people work Monday to Friday or Tuesday to Saturday, and we provide service 6 days a week, and from 8:30 to 5:30. And over the tax crunching time right now, we do have people who are in the office late. If you just call us, you will get a hold of us. And we always wanting to make sure that everyone who walks into our life, we take care of you. And that is our fate, right? People don't just come to Community CPA for no reason. And everyone who comes in and knocking our door, it is part of the family. And we are obligated to help you. So I hope that you have a final stretch, an easy one, and making sure that you call us if you have any questions, and we're here for you 6 days a week and all year round. Bye-bye.